I am going to touch on the symposium of today's subject of Prophet. The thing is, I am going to give you a thing to be for your enlightenment, for not to listen, but to reflect when you back home, when you reach home, what could be the content of my speech, which can give any useful information for you to reflect and adopt. Please give good attention. I hope you all will understand. We are in the beginning of 21st century. The last century ended in Industrial Revolution. This century starts with knowledge revolution. Needless for me to emphasize the importance of knowledge, because the whole world is fully embedded in knowledge revolution and knowledge. Need not for me to speak all of the things. You are in the information age now. Travel is very easy for us. Diseases are easy curable. Information instant. All of you have this mobile with you. You don't have to go to library. It's available on a mobile. The whole thing, what is happening around the world, and what you want to know about, whatever you like, it is available on the mobile phone. So much advanced we are. And we are going to the next stage of another era of development, which you don't know, is going to be very catastrophic. That is what is called the artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? This is not the time to talk, but you are going to face this, and perhaps you will benefit. Also, you may lose your humanity out of this. So, all level, we are progressed to such a tremendous level. We are one of the best era of human history, of civilization. Everything is at a very comfortable stage. We have progressed to such a high level. We can be very proud of our civilization. But on the human level, how far you have progressed? The violence you see, the hatred, the prejudice, all the things which our eminent speakers have just highlighted for you. The hatred, the prejudice, the war, the First World War, the Second World War, the Gulf War, and the continuous war taking place around the world. Millions and millions of people are dying. How far you have progressed to the human level? A very eminent philosopher of 20th century, Bertrand Russell, has said that human beings has reduced to the level of beast. I feel the beasts are better than human beings, because a beast never kills a fellow beast. Have you seen an elephant killing a fellow elephant? Have you seen a cow killing a fellow cow? It's the only human beings who kill the fellow species. So we are worse than animals. Animals are more human. So much so, we are on the retrogression, going back. So what is the present position? The world is so small. Like an aircraft, we are all moving together. The earth is moving in a very enormous speed. If something goes wrong in the aircraft, it may crash. So also the earth may crash any moment by something wrong behavior of our human beings. So what is the most needed things today? There are two needs as identified. The one need is knowledge. The other one is leadership. Knowledge, as I was telling, we are in the 21st century with the knowledge revolution. Nowhere in the history has got such knowledge abundance, but it's incomplete. There are two types of knowledge. The agnostic, they are there, please bear with me. One is called the acquired knowledge, which we get from school, colleges, universities, research foundation, all etc. Acquired through senses and understanding. This is called the acquired knowledge. There is another knowledge which is called divine knowledge. That is not acquired, and it is not coming from other human beings. It is coming from beyond human beings. And they are focusing only on human beings. The acquired knowledge is focusing all about other things, including human beings. But divine knowledge focus only on human beings. These knowledges are in various scripture and the role in various religions. The Vedas of Hindus, the Bible of the Christians, and the Quran of Muslims. They contain this divine knowledge. And mind you, it is only by and they focus on human beings and human things. And only by the foundation of this divine knowledge, if the acquired knowledge is built, the human can sustain their civilization. Otherwise, we may crash at any moment, as the aircraft can crash unseemly at any time. So also the earth may crash also similarly. Now, you are all enjoying democracy, something what we call in this modern age. If you are a Democrat, it's the best country in the world. The history of democracy is something which you all know. It's an evolution taken place in the West against the kings and also against the church. And something what has happened is the West, something is not a little pinpointing any particular thing, but an historical fact. When the church ruled there in the West, they become a lot of uncomfortable. So there is a war between the church and the Reformation, Protestantism, all this came. As such, a new phenomenon was what is called democracy with secularism. It's a good thing. We all felt it is very useful for us. And we also enjoy it today. If you want to be a good man, be a Democrat, be a secularist. But what has happened, we do not know. By welcoming this democracy and secularism, we have cornered, abandoned another very great value, which was the civilization built for thousands of years, whichever the religion you take, on the divine knowledge, as I said. The civilization of democracy and also secularism, what he found was built without God-free civilization, a religious neutral civilization. So what has happened now? We do not know which direction to go. We lack leaders. Leaders of acquired knowledge, modernism, development, nuclear bombs are there. All kind of weapons are being manufactured to kill the fellow human beings. We want a new leadership. A leadership who can build their on based human ethics and human values. And that a civilization which can be brought can come only on the foundation of divine knowledge. Now, when you have become very religious, generally understood is become backward, is a mullah, or is a maharshi, or is a pope, or some priest, he doesn't know anything modern development. That's the general feeling about that. But at the same time, the enormous values which they have contributed. For example, you take the Christianity as such. The whole West is the Greco and Roman civilization built on sensual pleasures and intellectual pleasures. The Greek were behind intellectual pleasures, the Romans were behind sensual pleasure, dance, music, etc. But the Christianity gave them values and gave them what all we see, love, education, sympathy, compassion, etc. Having abandoned all these values, now they are enjoying on the name of neutrality. We are also going to suffer a lot in the future. As I said earlier, we require a leader who can guide the world. I remember Mahatma Gandhi, who won freedom for us. Indian, was a politician, a statesman. He showed the whole world. Wherever I travel around the world, I find on a statue there, Mahatma Gandhi. Either in New York or London. In Geneva, I was receiving an award for our hospital management, etc. So about 150 people were there from various countries. And I was given to talk about healthcare and hospital around the world, whatever my experience to share with. Suddenly, as I was talking, I switched out about Mahatma Gandhi because I saw his statue there in the park in the morning. It reflected on me. All the while, the thing went on about Mahatma Gandhi to a great extent, saying that he has invented new weapons like what is called Satyagraha, Ahimsa, etc. And with this weapon, he won the freedom when the American bombed Japan and destroyed the whole country. After the speech, my wife asked me, you went for hospital and you are talking about, you could have been a politician. I said, I am not a politician. I don't want a politician, nor could say Mahatma Gandhi a politician. Mahatma Gandhi was a human being who gave guidance to the whole world. And what we see, and many of you don't know, the management people of the world quote Mahatma Gandhi there. So we require a leader of that kind. 1400 years back, as you all know, talked here, a prophet was born in Makkah. You have heard enough about him. And needless for me to emphasize, a lot of things are talked about it. But one quotation I want you to know about him. This was written by Michael Hart. Michael Hart is an historian who wrote about ranking of the most influential people around the world from number 1 to 100. And in that ranking, he's a historian, very open-minded man, maybe a Christian to some extent, not a Muslim, definitely. He ranked number 1, Prophet Mohammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 1 leader in the world, he ranked number 2, 3, Newton, 3rd, Jesus Christ. And so on, so it goes. Unfortunately, Mahatma Gandhi was not in that 100, he came after 100. So, why he ranked number 1 leader in the world? He gives the reasons. I ranked him number 1 in the world. He was the only leader. Please give good attention because sometimes you may not understand. He is the only leader in the world who was supremely religious and secular. Both religious and secular. Can you understand? On the one hand, he said, don't be religious, be secular. But here, a historian says, he's the only man who was supremely religious and secular. What do you understand by this? Secular and being religious according to Western, this thing is, you have your religion in the house or in the church or in the mosque or in the temple. Beyond that, please don't interfere. Your social, economic or administration, leave to us. That is, you are not fit because of the history of the West. If you look to the Indian history, it is not like that. We had always a divine guidance of various scriptures, Arthashastra, excellent. All this started out of some divine foundation, divine knowledge foundation. So then he ranked number 1 as he's the only man who was secular as well as religious. That means he was every area he was involved in his life activities. He never remained only the most 5 times prayer. No. Soon after the prayer, he went somewhere else to do the job. Maybe different types of job. He was the living model for all times. He was a commander, a warrior, a businessman, a preacher, a statesman, a reformer, an orator, the emancipator of slaves, the protector of women, the judge, and many, many things more. He was a person of high ethics and discipline. He was an impeccably honest man of noble virtues. His life is a shining example for all people, at all places and at all times. He taught people the unity of God and the concept of universal brotherhood. His lifetime practices like purity, cleanliness, dignity of work, trade, marriage, charity, humanity, sympathy, love, trust, humbleness, recreation, kindness, ethics, unshakable faith, sublime character, etc., range from individual, family, community, society, and international level. As I said, he is the hero for all time, and his fellow model, says this eminent writer, the best example for humanity. He was a man with greatness of purpose, a smallness of means, and with an astounding results. The greatness of purpose was to preach the unity of God and to establish the true religion. The smallness of means was that he lived a simple and modest life. Even though he was a ruler of Arabia, he was without any materialistic. When there was a lot of duties available in the courtyard, there was no food in the house to eat. He never took any money from the public. So his influence is so supreme, even after the lapse of centuries, his teaching and life example are still held as a model. That is why he says he is the ranked number 1 leader in the world. If he is ranked number 1 in the world, everyone, Muslim and non-Muslim, think what could be the best need of the hour of this time? I'm not take straight away from the Prophet and be following a model, but take as a model, as Mahatma Gandhi has done. He was not only a political leader, won freedom, but a spiritual man. The spiritualism he embedded the materialism, and that is the only hope for the future. So all these things are the little one for you to take at this time. I am not taking much time because you have heard about that, about the historicity, because Prophet Mohammed has got one of the best historical authentic records. His comprehensiveness is available there. The perfectionist activities and the practical life, and he was the most courageous man. He was a model for humanity, and he is the need of, his example is the need of the hour. As I said in the beginning, we are all now in this hall, but imagine this is aircraft. If someone start quarreling and attacking and somebody takes a small bomb or something like that, see, all of it will collapse. So also, there are people around the world helplessly struggling how best we can retain peace. Mind you, it will not be possible. Trump or any European leaders or the Chinese leader or our Prime Minister, none of them say save the world. We have to go back to the original area where we have to have the foundation of the scriptures of every religion, which gives human ethics and human values. Then only we can sustain. And on this occasion, I want to enlighten the followers of different religion, particularly the Muslim. I remember an occasion when I showed a beautiful documentary of the Islam and Empire of Faith to all the doctors in my hospital and elsewhere in IMA program. One of the doctors asked, Dr. Habeeb, I really appreciate, it's a beautiful documentary, something which I never seen earlier, and this much of information about Islam I never heard or seen anywhere. But if your prophet comes today, he'll ask, where are my followers? Are these Muslim my followers? I doubt. This is the question he may ask you. We have to reflect on this, how we are following the real teaching of Islam. Prophet has never created violence. As our Swamiji was telling, Swamiji quoted something, we cannot imagine the quotation, a Swamiji quoting that much, for even I myself cannot quote that much. We really appreciate and give all our appreciation for the Swamiji who has come all the way from there, giving that much information. He was telling, he was a man of patience and patience. See, forgiveness, mercy, all the things, all highly lofty values. But what do we do? Terrorism, violence, hatred, economical warfare. You are not good in dealings. Prophet was so pakka in his dealings, and he's always worried. If you look to the Quran, most of us know, what is the thing you understand? Every day you read. Do you understand what is there? As I understand, the only three things I understand in the Quran. One is the unity of God. After immediately understanding the oneness of God, the second thing comes to the mind of reading Quran, how you are going with your fellow man. Iman and Amal Saliyat. Iman and Amal Saliyat. How you are, all thing goes the fellow man. Charity, service, helping nature, which Prophet also did in Medina. Medina, 13 years, he had only few hands of followers, more than a dozen. Most of them were non-Muslim. But what he is known for? Social service. Every house he went and fed the poor, helpless. They built the houses. Whatever the problem, sick, they went and attended their sickness. This was his character. This was his helping nature, which we Muslims must know at this present moment. Unless we ourselves change, as Swamiji was telling, we have to change, has to come within. Individual has to change. First, we Muslim has to change ourselves and be the right model for others, because they don't have time to see all these things. These Swamijis and other people who have been beautiful talk here has given out of the model which they have seen. The Muslim they have met and interacted, not out of maybe perhaps they must have understood, but not out of the big readings. Most of the Muslims which we have seen, who have become Muslims or embraced Islam, are the people who have seen the modeling of good Muslims. When the early days, many of the Sahabis came to Kerala, they never fought anything there. The Hindus, they welcomed them and received them, and afterwards they were impressed by their human nature in them. That is what made them to embrace Islam. And all our forefathers are not Muslim, they were Hindus of origin of this place. So what I want to make to understand is that we have to reform, every religious follower has to reform, then there will be harmony and peace. This is all I had to convey in this short time, and the beautiful speeches of all the people, particularly our Swami Lakshmi Sankaracharya Swamiji. You have come all the way from from Kanpur. Not only that, when I listened to him, I don't know how many of you felt, I have understood, because so much he has studied which you and I have not studied. Quoting the Quran, ayat number, hadith also, which even mullahs don't know, many of the mullahs. They call all the things in the mosque and all the thing and do nothing. There's no expansion for them. That is not Islam. Islam never took such thing. The civilization which built after Prophet was an even example for the modern world. 1,000 years, brilliant civilization based on the religious faith and practice that the Muslim advanced. Unlike the West, when they were religious, they were not advanced. When we were religious, we were advanced. When we left the religion, we became backward, which we are now. So we had to go back to the original teaching of Islam and enlighten ourselves and get progress, how best we can serve society and humanity. So also the eminent speakers who have come here, when I was listening to Swami Lakshmi Sankaracharya, I just remember an event. I don't know how many of you have read one book, Al-Burunus India. How many of you read? Any of you know? Have read this book? Can you raise the hands? Any in the audience? Yes? Yeah, okay. Because there are scholars. They have every chance of reading that. That particular, their eminence is much better than me in knowledge. I'm coming, conclusion. Thank you. So actually, I remember that at that time, a Persian Al-Biruni came all the way from Persia to India. He's an Arab Muslim, and wrote a book on Hinduism and Hindu culture. And in Arabic, went and taught them to the Muslims about Indian culture. That was the spirit of the Muslims of then. So also I see the same spirit of thing, our Swamiji, which you have the typical Hindu. I always say the Hindus are the most tolerant people, which we don't know there. They are open-mindedness and welcoming there. That is what you could see many of the Hindus who are here with us. What they are hatred and violence is not the real Hinduism. They are only you few people, like terrorists, what you find in Muslim, they are not real Muslim. They are a minority as such. Majority Hindus are tolerant people, and that's why India became a very tolerant country. So also I am very much enlightened by Veerabhadrappa, Shivaram Shetty, and Anif Saab, and also Muhammad Kuni, all the people and all other who are cooperated for this beautiful function. And I hope, as I said in the beginning, I got a note already to stop. As I said in the beginning, that my talk is to just think and reflect. Once you go back and see whatever that thing which I reflected has any value for the future of humanity. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. May God make it be or not.